Well, we already discussed the Marjorie Taylor Greene appearance at this absolutely bonkers conference that's going on. I think it's called the People's Convention, put on by Turning Point USA, of course, the Charlie Kirk organization. Now I want to play for you some moments from the son of Donald Trump Jr., who I just recently came across a piece saying that he's really becoming a key figure in the campaign, which is strange that you would want to put him out front, but they're putting him out front, and thus we'll take a look at a few moments, like I said, from this speech. And there were a couple of times that I want to get to where Don Jr. actually accidentally, that's what I'm trying to say, embarrasses himself, of course, but also his father. We'll get to that. The Epstein stuff comes out and it gets a little funky. So hold for that. But first, to go through this chronologically, this is the introduction of Donald Trump Jr. He comes out on stage. These events have super hype music and the visuals are all very hype. And then we'll look at a little beginning, then move forward.
Whoa! What's going on, Michigan? Well, guys, that's how we know we're not at a Democrat rally. Because they throw you out on your asses. Michigan, thank you so much for being here. Watching this kind of momentum, this kind of enthusiasm this early tells us everything that we need to know about what's going to happen to Joe Biden and the radical Democrat agenda on November 5th.
Hey, I'm Jaden. I'm one of the producers at The Luke Beasley Show. If you appreciate the work we're doing, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Thank you.
All right, so before playing this next moment that reminded me of a very devastating video of Trump, we'll get to that. There, him making that joke of the fact that USA chants are being chanted proves this isn't a Democratic rally, and it plays into this idea that it's the right that are the patriotic ones. And before I respond to that, I just have a couple of Joe Biden moments to play for you.
Above all, I see a future for all Americans. I see a country for all Americans. And I will always be president for all Americans. So let's build the future together. Let's remember who we are. We are the United States of America.
All right, and that was from the most recent State of the Union address. Then just for funsies, we'll go back to his 2012 speech supporting Hillary Clinton. Not 2012, 2016 speech supporting Hillary Clinton.
Because we lead not only by the example of our power, but by the power of our example. That is the history of the journey of America. And God willing, Hillary Clinton will write the next chapter in that journey. We are America, second to none, and we own the finish line. Don't forget it. God bless you all, and may God protect our troops. Come on.
And that's a message we've heard from Biden many, many times, like you saw there from the State of the Union. You can both want to make the country better and not ignore its flaws and its historical flaws while understanding and celebrating its greatness, right? And that's why I've been super consistently bringing to you all a message of now's the time to really reclaim that label of patriotic in its best form as a democratic movement, as a pro-democracy movement, because right now MAGA is standing against so many crucial American ideals, like the functioning of our democratic republic, like standing for our Constitution. And so this is the moment to reclaim that label, because unfortunately we have to admit the right has done a really good job of convincing people the American flag patriotic side is the right, when especially in this moment that flies in the face of the actual principles that you would think associates with patriotism. But with that being said, here's this next moment from Donald Trump Jr.
We were told the adults were going to be back in charge. And look at what it's got at us. You saw that the adults are not in charge. The morons are in charge, folks.
Burn.
To be clear, we're never going to surrender. It's not our style, man. We don't. At this point, we got to fight, because congratulations. If you're in this room right now, you're probably on the FBI list. You're in with me, my father, my family, so you're in with good company. I am on every list except the Epstein list. We haven't heard anything about that one in a while. I'm fine with all the other lists. As long as I'm not on the Epstein list, we're good, right? Speaking of which, how is it that my father can be convicted of 34 crimes, but no one on Epstein's list has even been brought to light? I'm trying to figure out how that's possible, right, folks?
I think some of them have been brought to light, but I agree. I would love to know more information about that. It would be so cool if one of the presidential candidates got asked if they would declassify documents related to Epstein and gave a response like this.
Would you declassify the 9/11 files?
Yeah.
Would you declassify JFK files?
Yeah.
Would you,
I did a lot of it.
Would you declassify the Epstein files?
Yeah, I would.
All right.
I guess I would. I think that less so, because, you don't know. You don't want to affect people's lives if it's phony stuff in there, because there's a lot of phony stuff with that whole world. But I think I would.
So no worries about phony stuff, quote unquote, in the 9/11 files or JFK files. I love this lower third chyron. If you can put back up the computer, Jade. Trump says if he wins the White House, he will declassify 9/11 files, JFK files, and possibly Epstein files. But less so on that, because there might be phony stuff about everyone's favorite president in there, and we don't want that. He might be thinking of this when he thinks of I'm not making any authoritative claim. I'm just saying sometimes it's funny when they sort of omit that friendship whenever they have these conversations, always trying to make proclamations about the Democratic deep state in referencing Epstein, but again, not addressing that component. And then before getting to the next clip, I do want to say the beginning of the clip from Donald Trump Jr. was him pointing to a guy who I'm assuming had a Never Surrender shirt on, because they love those, and it's always Trump's photograph of him surrendering at the Fulton County Jail. But never surrenders the message, and Donald Trump Jr. goes, "That's right, we can't surrender." And I guess my question is to these individuals: who's asking you to surrender, and to what? What is this thing you have to fight so much against? We just want to give you health care. We want to lower your prescription drug costs, raise your wages, invest in infrastructure in your communities, make sure there's a livable planet for your children. Is that really something that you gotta stop? We'll never surrender. We'll never let you invest in broadband internet in my community. Don't do it. Okay.
You get what we've experienced over the last few years. If I was getting a little tired, I'd look like Joe Biden for the imaginary chair. You see that? I mean, he usually can't find his way off the stage. He falls both up and downstairs. Now he's at the 80th anniversary of D-Day, wanders off into nowhere, does it again at the G7, sitting in imaginary chairs, and not one person in our mainstream media starts questioning his competence. Right? If Donald Trump did one Joe Bidenism, it's something that Joe Biden does every day, The entire force of the lamestream media would be calling for the 25th Amendment. They'd be calling for impeachment.
Yeah, Trump has done a gazillion super concerning cognitive things. But the reason I play that for you is because it's long been debunked, the idea, as I'll play for you, that Biden attempted to sit in an invisible chair at this Normandy speech, but they keep running with it. And my message is, if you have to attack them on fake things, you're having to invent things to attack them on, does that just mean that there's not much actual real stuff for you to criticize them on? I feel like you could find more accurate, real things to go after Biden for, but instead, it's stuff like this. So the clip that's being referenced here that was circulated far and wide, that I've heard people in my personal life reference, never just checking if 2 seconds after the end of the clip they watch answers their question, was this.
Distinguished guests, please welcome the Honorable Lloyd J. Austin.
And then all the clips ended there. Oh, there's no chair there. Oh, he doesn't know where he is. That's my annoying people voice. But they didn't include in the clip, interestingly, this.
The third, Secretary of Defense of the United States of America.
There was a chair and everyone was sitting down 2 seconds, 1 second even, after the clip was cut off. So no, he didn't try to sit in an invisible chair. Your eyes, apparently it's a you issue. You didn't see that there was a chair there or care to look at the full footage. Absolutely ridiculous. Then here's this from Donald Trump Jr.
From our own party. The difference is now we're going in and we know who the scumbags are. We're going in now and we know those who are going to be loyal. Those who will fight for what all of you believe in, not what the Washington, D.C. swamp wants. And that, folks, is why they're going after my father in the way that they are. Joe Biden knows that he cannot beat Trump at the ballot box fair and square.
Except for that he did last time. Whoops.
The Democrats know that. Joe Biden can't walk up a flight of stairs. So they'll do what they always do. They'll figure out other ways. The problem is they overplayed their hand so much that now everyone in America, even those, not like you guys who are into this stuff, but even those who don't follow, understand just how broken they are, just how corrupted they are, just how evil they are, and they've had enough because Americans know that if they can do it to Trump, and if they will do it to Trump, there is no one that they won't go after and destroy to push.
And I feel like I have to include that little line every time we hear it because of its absurdity. I won't go through the whole thing again, but yes, if you break the law, they can go after you too. Prosecutors with jurisdiction wherever the crime was allegedly committed can also prosecute you if you break the law. There's not a conspiracy. Trump had his due process. He failed to refute the prosecutor's story, and jurors found that he was guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. But somehow that ridiculous phrase is now the rallying cry for this movement. Now, by the way, at the last Turning Point USA event, you had this doozy of a moment from Donald Trump Jr.
I get it. My guys, who I stayed in touch with, many of them just dear friends, they're like, hey, dude, there's no way you would have gotten away with that. I go, I know. Luckily, I don't snort cocaine. Like, it's not my thing. You would have gotten away with that. I go, I know. Luckily, I don't snort cocaine. Like, it's not my thing.
I'll never understand that noise. I never will. I made an oath to myself that I would, or commitment, an oath seems a little bit serious, to play that clip as many times as humanly possible throughout my doing this show. By the way, his fiance, Kimberly Guilfoyle, also spoke at this event, and just to give you a sense, she was shot out of a cannon.
Because the best is yet to come. They may try to put away our President Donald J. Trump, but he will not stop. And the real verdict will be November 5th when the American people speak and put Donald J. Trump back in the White House. Are you ready?
Yeah, I think if you're always screaming, if you're always as loud as you can possibly go, then the big proclamation at the end of the speech doesn't quite hit the same, right? You want to sort of build up to it, and then the best is yet to come. But if the entire time you're screaming, that it doesn't hit the same way. So that would be my advice to Kimberly Guilfoyle, and some wacky stuff there from the Turning Point USA event. Let me know what you thought of all that in the comments, and if you want to get the daily bonus show, the extra episode of the show daily, you can do so by clicking that join button below.